Welcome, everyone. Today we have with us Dawn Theodore, who is a leader in the treatment of eating disorders. She brings to her practice insights of both a teacher and a dancer who has recovered from anorexia. She is based in California, where she has a private therapy practice. She is also the author of the book TuTu Thin, which addresses the topic of eating disorders in the dance world. Welcome, Dawn.
Thank you. Glad to be there or here.
I've been wanting to have this chat with you since we first met in Helsinki, so I'm really glad that this is finally happening.
Me too. I'm very happy that it's happening.
I thought we could begin by speaking about the importance of proper nutrition for a dancer, including what nutrients a dancer needs most.
Proper nutrition is such an important part. Our bodies are instruments, and so we have to fuel our bodies. And many times dancers don't recognize that their muscles need to be have fuel after a rehearsal. And so like having protein, having a carbohydrate, and there are so many fad diets where carbohydrates are bad, or, and I am a person who believes that all foods fit, and, our bodies need nutrients and we need to fuel our body. So the best way is to have breakfast and a snack, and lunch and a snack, and dinner and a snack. And then you have to work, whether you're dancing for a couple hours or you're in rehearsal, you have to work your food around the times that you're dancing. And so, for example, if your rehearsal goes from 4 to 7, you're going to want to have breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, maybe you have another snack. And then when you leave rehearsal, you have dinner right away, or you have a snack and then and then a dinner a little bit later. So it's just important that you think about, how am I going to nourish my body throughout the day and not let it go for long periods of time. Be sure you put snacks in your dance bag, and that your snacks are portable and easy to transport, things that you can eat. So all of that is really important.
These days, I've been hearing a lot about ketogenic diets and fasting. And like you just said, there are a lot of fad diets out there. So can you speak a little bit about the advantages and disadvantages of these diets?
I don't really think there's any advantages of the diets. Because what they're usually asking you to do is, there's the intermittent diets. They ask you for less, to not give your body something that it actually needs. And so, with a lot of diets, that it's low carb or no carb, and carbohydrates are actually what fuel our body to be able to dance and jump and do the things that we need to do. So, being sure that, we're dancers, we want to be able to give our best performance. And the way we're going to give our best performance is by fueling our body. And that is with carbohydrates, proteins, fats, fruits, and vegetables. And so, making sure that we get those in, and that we're also nourishing our body throughout the day.
Thank you for that. What are your views on meat versus veganism? This debate that keeps going on. This is particularly relevant in India, I feel, because of the large vegetarian population that we have.
I'll just start off by saying I'm a vegetarian, and I feel like I have to find ways to make sure that I nourish my body in an appropriate way. And so, many years ago when I started treating eating disorders, it was very taboo if somebody was vegan. And because it was usually because, of their eating disorder. And I think you have to look at the reason why people are vegan. Because is it because of the animal rights? Is it because of the planet? Or is it because they want to cut certain things out of their diets? Because what happens is with eating disorders is that, you start with, I'm going to cut back on bread, and then I'm going to cut back on, eggs, and then I'm going to cut back on meat. And then and your diet just gets narrower and narrower till there's nothing left. But, it's very easy to have a healthy vegetarian diet. You just have to get in the proteins with nuts and peanut butter and tofu and different things that offer protein, beans, that will also give you protein other than meat. And so, I think it's a preference for people, but I always think it's important to ask why are you a vegan? I have a lot of dancers who I see in my private practice who are vegan, and some of them they've been vegan for many years before their eating disorder started, and some of them it's a recent thing. So that's an important piece.
In your opinion, what would be, like you gave some examples now of healthy snacks, what would be a snack that you would normally prepare when you're getting started for the day?
An apple and peanut butter, or I don't know what you have there, but like just any kind of bars that they can take with them, peanut butter and crackers, some type of it's like fruit and yogurt, portable yogurt that you can take with you, anything, nuts. Trail mix is a great one, so that you're getting the protein. One of the things that I think is an important one, chocolate milk. There's a chocolate milk that people can drink that's protein and carbohydrates, and so therefore you can take in you can get both things that you need after a rehearsal or a class before you get home and have dinner. So I'm speaking from what we have in the United States. I don't know if that's similar to what you have, but hopefully that helps.
Well, chocolate milk, everyone's going to love that option. That's great. What are your views on nutritional supplements?
Such as?
For example, taking protein shakes or just vitamins in general.
I think if you, sometimes people don't have time to make something. They can make a shake and throw a protein powder in, or throw some peanut butter in, and it can make up a good shake. So, I think vitamins are great. I think we always want to try to get it from the source because has so much more nutrients if you get it from the source. But if that's not possible, absolutely, vitamins are necessary. And, for example, vitamin D is an important vitamin that we need for our bodies. But if you're not out in the sun, you're not going to have the vitamin D. And so having the ability to have vitamin D in a supplement is a good example.
Okay, that's interesting. I believe it's not just what you eat. You had said a little earlier about the timings that we eat and how it's so important to eat a specific food at a specific time in the day to increase energy and performance. Could you expound a little more about that?
Yes, I think it's important. It's hard to eat a meal right before you dance, but it's also really important to fuel your body. So it's like being sure that what you're giving your body, I don't know, if you go to class at 5:00, do you eat dinner before or do you eat dinner after? And, it's just that you need to have fueled your body properly. So if you've had breakfast and you have snack and you have lunch and you have 2 snacks, then you just have dinner when you go home. But, or you have dinner before you go and have a snack, a snack when you leave class. So, it really is about trying to work and figure out how we can get food in that works with the dance schedule, and being sure that our body's fueled properly prior to dancing. You don't want to eat 30 minutes before you start dancing a large meal. You want to give yourself time to digest it so that you can dance. But it's such an important part of making sure your body's fueled. I just can't stress that enough. It's like we need to fuel our bodies.
Right. Definitely, 100%, because there is so much pressure, I feel, with this drive for perfectionism, especially with social media and looking a certain way. What are your views on that?
I think it's really hard. I think social media is really hard. It's certainly a part of our lives today and it connects the world. I also think it's really difficult for young dancers who are, especially somebody who has perfectionistic tendencies to want to continue. They use people on the internet to judge themselves based on that person. And it's an unrealistic comparison. And so somebody might have, they can do 5 pirouettes, maybe they did that in rehearsing it over and over and over again, but nobody knows that. It's much like, is it photoshopped? What happened to the picture? And so all of these things are setting people up to feel like they aren't good enough. And there's already that feeling of not being good enough as a dancer as it is. Like you can never have, somebody's always going to turn more, have better feet or a better body or better turnout. And so there's always this push to keep going and be better. And I think that social media only makes that more difficult for dancers.
How important is good nutrition for injury prevention and recovery?
Well, I mean, I think it's really important because as a dancer, you need to have your body or you can't dance. And so if you're not giving your body the proper nutrition, you're going to end up with stress fractures and different, that's the one that I think is most common when people aren't properly nourished, is they get stress fractures from not what can be from being underweight, or it can be from not being nourished. But that's not something you want, because it's going to limit your dancing, it's going to limit your career. And so once again, giving your body the proper nourishment that it needs, and not, giving it the proper nourishment. Part of it is learning to trust our body, that our body knows what to do with the food once we taken them in the food, it knows what to do with it. And but I feel like so many times people don't listen to their bodies, but they listen to their brain, and their brain tells them, you shouldn't eat, or you're going to get fat, or whatever it says. And then they're not listening to their body, which is actually the body. We're born with an innate sense that tells us we're hungry, we're full, and so we need to learn to listen to that more.
I really liked, there was a section in your book where it went into a lot of detail about a dancer who just kept losing weight, and she was getting complimented for it, and she was getting roles as well. And how in the end she couldn't go on dancing because she had no energy and she injured herself. And so yeah, I think it's so important that all of these topics have been addressed in your book. If someone's suffering from many of the things that we've just spoken about right now, how should they go about rebuilding their self-esteem?
I always talk to people about working on yourself as an individual, and not comparing yourself to others, and not looking at what everybody else is doing. What do you need for yourself, and what do you want for yourself? Because when we compare ourselves to others, we always feel like we don't measure up. And so, and looking at small accomplishments, so for example, if you're going across the floor and you are able to do a certain jump or a certain turn that you couldn't do before, use that as, and say, I'm really proud of myself for that. Being a dancer is such a blessing, and we are so lucky to be able to dance. And many times I feel like so much pressure is put on the dancer to look a certain way, and dancers come in all shapes and sizes. And so I think it's so important to focus on what is your strengths, and focus on those, and what makes you unique, as a person, as a dancer, what makes you unique from everybody else, because that's what's going to help you get better.
I've seen that body image issues are prevalent in many areas of life, just like they are in ballet. But you talked about this in your book, how your experience with rejection when auditioning for roles, how you dealt with that. How should one handle rejection when it comes to, you know, auditioning to even a summer program or a performance dance company? How does one deal with, you know, rejection and not getting in, not getting the role?
I mean, unfortunately, rejection is part of being a dancer. I hate to say that, but rejection is part of being a dancer. And so we have to learn how to, you know, look at, you know, wonder what I could have done better in that audition. And I wonder what, you know, and you know, instead of being upset, just say, it's not the right program for me. It's not the right job for me. You know, there'll be something better come along. And then take the information you learned from that audition and go back to class and keep working on it, because the right job will come along, the right summer intensive will come along, and you have to believe in yourself. And that's going to be the, you know, maybe they only had 5 slots and you were number 6. So it's like really believing in yourself, but that's hard, you know, it's hard. But that's where I'm also a very big believer of positive affirmations, you know, really saying positive things about your body, about yourself as a dancer, what makes you unique. All those things are so important because energy follows thought. And if you put the energy, you know, if you put the thought out there, the energy is going to follow it.
So true.
And the other thing I would say about an audition is that our minds can become problematic. And so, you know, as a dancer, we need to have our mind to remember choreography, but we also need to be connected to our body, which is how we show. This is you know, we emote in dance and we show emotions. And so it's important to have, I always say the elevator's got to stop at all the floors. And so what you don't want to do is have this, you know, overruling the body, so that, you know, it's telling you, you know, oh, you did that terrible, or you fell out of that turn, or why did you even come to this audition? Questioning yourself is going to make it not work out for you. So having a positive mindset going into an audition is really important. You know, and believing you can do the best that I did the best that I could, or I'm going to do the best that I can, because I, you know, and that's the best you can do.
Being kind to yourself. That's really nice.
Yeah.
In your book, you interview dancers around the world who have managed to find a good balance between managing their dance commitments as well as taking time to do other activities they enjoy. So could you share with us some of your top tips for achieving a dance life balance?
I mean, I think it's different whether you're a dance student or in the dance world as a professional dancer. But I think, you know, dance is your job, but you also have to have relationships and, you know, and time for yourself, things that you like to do besides dance, whether it's reading or writing or going to movies, or, you know, I like to paddleboard. So, you know, it's like finding things that you like to do that are separate from dance. So, and you know, if you're going to go away to college, you know, to be a dancer, have a backup, you know, because I think it's important to always have something else that you can do. And friends, don't, you know, it's like most of your friends are going to be in the dance world, but it's also helpful to have friends who aren't in the dance world, who you know, have different jobs or different, you know, different viewpoints. So I think learning to balance it out. I think in my book I talk about a dad whose son ended up going on to dance professionally, but he used to make him take every summer off to go on a family vacation, and he would take the whole summer off because the family was European and they would go to Europe for the summer and they would stay in Europe for the summer. And as a dance teacher, it used to drive me crazy. I think it really helped him develop a really good balance in his life. And he went on to go to Juilliard, and now he lives in Europe and dances professionally. He danced with a company in Switzerland, and he has a, he loves cooking. He has a whole life other than dance. He loves dance, but he also has a life other than dance. And I think that's really important because it makes somebody an all-rounded person.
Definitely. And also you mentioned in your book about that, the artistry and the communication and, being able to connect with your audience when you're on stage. And I think that, like you said, it's only possible if you have as many experiences, life experiences as possible, so you can convey that to the audience. It's not only about doing, those 5 pirouettes or, the technical things, but it's about, truly being an artist and being able to, to bring something more than just technique.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that most dancers can execute the technique. It's the dancers who can feel the feeling, feel the music, and be able to connect with the audience are the people who are going to, make it in the dance world. And I think the other part of it is that that's really hard to feel those feelings and connect with an audience when you don't have proper nutrition, because if you're hungry going on, it's not going to be, you're going to, people who are starving themselves think about food all the time, so it occupies a large percentage of their brain instead of what, whether it's choreography or connecting with your body, all those things.
In conclusion, is there anything specific that you want to say to our viewers here in India?
Enjoy dancing. Dancing is the best. Being a dancer is the best. But take care of your body, because your body is really important and you only get one. And so you need to care for it. And when you're young, sometimes, when I was sick in my eating disorder, I never thought about whether I was, I was 15, so I didn't care whether, I didn't think about my body not being healthy. And so it's really hard but develop good habits at a young age so that your dance career can have longevity to it.
That's great. For those of you who are watching, Dawn's book, TuTu Thin, is going to be available to purchase from the Bella Academy store next week. Dawn, thank you so much for being here with us today and for sharing so many valuable insights. And I'm sure this is going to help all of our students to become, really conscious about what they're eating and take care of their bodies. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me. It was an honor.